what are the signs of labor? Like, what should I really expect? When does labor start? Contractions as a sign of labor. The so-called mucus plug. Water breaking. Dilation. Braxton Hicks. Hey everyone. This is Anna, and today I want to share with you an important and interesting message while I'm here at the beautiful lake in the Alps. And on my walk I figured, why not film a video and talk to you about the 5 most common signs of labor and why they can be misleading. I want to make this video for young moms, first-time moms, and even if you're a mom to a second or third child, if you're currently pregnant, if you had an induction before and you're wondering what are the signs of labor, like what should I really expect, when does labor start? So this is a very important message. When I was first pregnant, I asked my OBGYN, I asked her, how do I know that I'm giving birth? How do I know the process started? What she told me was, at the first sign of any kind of sensation, you just come on over here, because by the time you come, you might give birth at home. And this is so scary. Of course, this advice wasn't really the most practical, especially for a first-time mom, due to the fact that usually the first-time labor will last from 1 to 3 days. If you choose to have a fully unmedicated birth, like I would totally recommend to you, then the process is going to take anywhere from 1 to 3 or 4 days. Yeah, it might sound long, but this is just normal for the body of a new mom. Imagine this, you're at home, you start to feel sensations, very strong ones, very intense. It's your first time. You might start to think, oh, I have to go to my doctor and get checked. If you go to your doctor the first time and you get checked, you're probably going to be very, very far away from giving birth, because the first round is painful, long, and it's going to cost many hours before your body is prepared itself and is ready to give birth to your baby. This is why you should not hurry, especially the first time, to go to the hospital. You should call your midwife. You should prepare yourself a very good midwife who has given birth naturally without any medication whatsoever. No medications that are designed to enforce labor to start early, and of course no medications that are for reducing pain, like epidurals. I would not recommend medications because they're going to make birth a lot riskier. If you just go through the sensations and you're mentally prepared, it's going to be very much less painful, because in fact Pitocin does create more painful contractions in the end. Contractions as a sign of labor. Contractions can start anywhere from 1 week before labor. You can have the so-called Braxton Hicks or false contractions even a month before labor starts. This is not a guarantee. If you feel contractions of your uterus, that birth is about to begin. If you're feeling very strong sensations which are really taking a hold of you, and they're so strong that you can't think for anything else for more than an hour to 2, 3, 4 hours, and this is a good sign that your body has started to really prepare for birth. But it might not give birth at the same day. They might just disappear. It's a yes and a no at the same time. If the contractions proceed to be very, very strong and you feel that they're not stopping, they're just becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, and you're becoming really, really into the feeling, you're taken, your body's like in a meditative state, then this is a sign that labor is coming near your way. The second most common sign of labor is the so-called mucus plug. It is a plug which is on the cervix, which is designed to prevent bacteria from entering inside where the baby is. What is said is that this mucus plug happens to fall right before labor begins. The first time I gave birth to my first baby, I did find a mucus plug 3 days prior to giving birth. So yes, I did see something like that. However, in my second pregnancy, I did not see anything. There was no mucus plug at all. I was waiting to see it and it never came and I never saw it. The staying and the waiting and the anticipation to see the mucus plug as a sign is a bad idea, because you might see it or you might not. It's better to not think about this thing, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Don't put it inside of your mind. It's not worth it. The other most common sign is water breaking. Water breaking is a sign that something very serious is happening inside your body, of course, and it is something that you should be aware of. However, just because your water has just broken doesn't mean necessarily that birth is about to immediately begin. It is a sign that birth is very, very near. But again, the same rules apply. It might be a couple of hours, or it might be a day or two before the actual eruption of the baby. What I would suggest is, if you do see water gushing out of you, but there are no contractions, to know that maybe half of the water sac has broken. It has a front, a back part, and one of them might have broken if you do feel a bit of water gushing. But keep in mind, it can repair itself. Even if you have a bit of water but you don't have any other signs, this might not be a very sure indication birth is about to begin. If you have the combination of very strong sensations inside of your uterus, your stomach, which are taking a hold of you, you start to feel very strong pushing sensations from your uterus, and then your water breaks, this is a sign that maybe the baby's head is about to go down into the cervix and go out. So this is when water breaking does have an indication. But if it's just a little bit without any other symptom, then it's not a clear sign that birth is about to begin. The other thing, which is very common, is dilation. So your doctor or your midwife are going to track how big of a dilation you have in order to somehow foretell at which stage of birth you are. The checking of the uterus, the inserting of fingers inside of the vagina of a birthing mother in the same moment that she's giving birth, is not the most pleasant sensation, because you are so much into the strong feelings of your uterus, and then all of a sudden someone is putting their fingers inside of you, and it's not pleasant. It makes the sensations you're feeling painful. It's overall pretty unnecessary. However, if you're a first-time mom and if you are using a midwife, you might want yourself to know at which stage you are. For my 2 births, I happened to choose a wonderful midwife. I have not used a doctor for the birthing process. I asked her if she could check me, because I wanted to control the process of birth and I wanted to know at which stage I was. And to tell you the truth, this was kind of a mistake. Asking her to check dilation, I was very impatient. I wanted it to be done with as quickly as possible. But this thinking, counting contractions, checking dilation, it made some kind of stress in my first birth, which prolonged it. I had a 40-hour labor because I was so focused on everything which was happening. If I had just let go, not checked dilation like every few hours, I think the process might have been much quicker. And I'll tell you why. Because in my second birth, my labor was extremely short, extremely fast. I did not count contractions. I did not check dilation at any point. I just met my midwife and gave birth 30 minutes after seeing her. So she didn't have time to check me. I just went and gave birth. There was no checking, no Dopplers, no nothing. It was as close to a free birth as I can imagine. I think the second time it was sort of a free birth, but I did have a midwife with me, for which I'm very grateful, because it's nice to have another woman who has had herself an unmedicated free birth at home. This gives a lot of confidence to mothers who are new. Braxton Hicks. I don't really like this term. I don't know how something so feminine is named after a guy who is telling you have false contractions, false labor. It is impossible for the body to create a fake or a false labor. It just doesn't work like this. It's all preparation. If you're feeling sensations in your uterus and in your stomach, your body is just preparing for birth. It's nothing fake inside of that. Don't think about Braxton Hicks contractions. It's kind of, if you're having feelings, which are called contractions in your uterus, I'm mostly calling them sensations because I don't think that they can be every time painful. The reason I don't think this is because I lived through it. In my first pregnancy, the sensations I felt in my stomach were painful, and I can say that they were what you call contractions. But the second time I gave birth, I felt no pain whatsoever from the sensations. And also, they were not contractions. They were just pushes. I was just feeling pushing, and my body just gave birth. It was so simple and beautiful. This is because I never use medication. I have absolute faith in my body that it can birth. It was built to birth. It was created to birth babies. Women are adapt to this. And if you are a woman and you're pregnant, you have a 85% chance to give birth normally. If you have some kind of risk, it's going to be of unwanted interventions that your doctor might want to make to you. Why do doctors make unwanted interventions? Because sometimes labor can last long, especially if you're being monitored, especially if you're thinking about labor. This can make labor pretty long. Doctors don't have the nerves and the time to stay with you 3-4 days until you give birth naturally. They would much rather give you an epidural and some Pitocin and make the birth process quicker. But the problem with the scheme of interventions is that if they make birth quicker, if they mess up birth, then the risk for your baby increases. And this is well documented. There are many books and many studies who clearly show the link between increased risk for the infant and medical interventions. So your best bet, if you want to be as sure as possible that your birth is going to go as you would like, no medication is the best route. If, however, you're feeling that something is not right, you want to have a backup plan, you have symptoms, you have reasons, really valid reasons and health problems for which you want to use medical assistance, you should. And you should find the best doctors that you can who can help you and assist you so that you can have maybe some help with your birth. I don't know, this is up to you. But if you want to have a completely natural birth and you want the best chances of a positive outcome, not using any medication is the best choice you can make for yourself and for your baby. These are the 5 most common signs of labor. I have just explained to you why they're misleading. I want to just add a note here. I think that there is really no way to know exactly when birth is going to happen. The signs that you are about to give birth, your body is just trying to eliminate the baby. It is combined with the fact that you really can't think about anything else. This is the best indication that labor is about to start. You are fully immersed in the sensation and nothing can take your focus out of it. You're feeling that the body is pushing the baby out. This is the best indication. And then your water will just break, most probably, if it hasn't already, and the baby will emerge. Tell me about your births. Tell me what you want to know. Tell me if you are a pregnant woman. Tell me what are you being recommended. What is your feeling? What is your intuition? What do you want to know? Do you want to know more? I'm going to be happy to reply to you and make a new video. So please subscribe to my channel. Check out my content, and if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask. I'm wishing you luck in your motherhood journey, and